What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
RadioWhat.com.
What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, DJLittleRock.com. Why did I sing it? I don't know, because I'm happy. It's Thursday. It's a bright and sunny day. Hanging out here in the Radio What studios, looking out the window and saying, wow, look at that big giant ball of fire in the sky. Is global warming real? It's hot out there, I'll tell you. If you need DJ services, okay, let me go back to that. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. I always go off the rails when I say how hot it is. It's so hot out there. All right, today on the program, Jason Alicea. Jason Alicea, I found him on Instagram. Don't limit your identity, and he's motivating. Let me tell you, he gives these videos out, and he talks about the word of the day, and it's always very inspiring. And he's just got a great face, and just it's nice to see him on the daily talking to the people. So he's going to be talking to you people. What did he mean by you people? I meant nothing by that. I mean you people, the people that are listening to the What Makes You Famous podcast. We're going to be talking to Jason Alicea. Now, today, it's Thursday, so let me talk about my shows. Tonight, I'll be at the Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam, family friendly. Bring everyone. It's a nice after-school treat, a nice after-work treat. Have some good barbecue. Drink some frosty beverages, if you're of legal age, of course. And you could sing some songs. Tonight, I think I'm going to be doing some 50s music just because there's a nice lady that she's celebrating her birthday, and I invited her to come over to the Old Post. So I think she's coming around, and she likes the music from the 50s and 60s. So I think we'll take it to the golden age of rock and roll tonight at the Old Post Barbecue from 6 to 9. And then tomorrow night, Friday night, it's my normal Friday, over at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, right up on the hill. That starts at 8 p.m. until almost 2 in the a.m. They got the full bar, the kitchen, the pool tables. They got shuffleboard. I think they got foosball now. There's a gigantic Jenga game. There's checkers, so a big giant checkers game. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do while you're waiting to sing a song with little old me. There's the pool tournament is going on. So if you want to try to make some money, get over to the Rab on Friday night and find out how to get into the pool tournament. They got 10, count them. They got some new pool tables. So there's 10 just diamond. I think they're called diamond. They're really fancy pool tables. Let's just say that. And then on the other side of the room, that's where I'm at with the stage all set up, all lit up, and ready to have you sing some songs and dance and have some fun over at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, Friday night, 8 p.m. And then on Saturday, I still have nothing to do. I'm kind of excited about that. I'm going to take a day off. Lazy Saturday and lazy Sunday. Usually Sundays. I keep my days lazy for the most part. All right. It's time to talk to Jason Alicea. And let's get him on the phone. Calling Jason Alicea now.
Hello, this is Jason.
Hi, Jason Alicea.
That's right.
Hi, Jason El Maestro Alicea.
That's right.
This is Keys.
How are you?
Keys Dan from the What Makes You Famous podcast.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for making time to connect with me. Appreciate it.
Yes. Are you ready?
I am. Do you mind me asking, what this might entail, I guess?
It's all about you.
All about me.
Yeah, it's a conversation about you. That's
okay.
I thought you figured that out already.
No. I wasn't quite sure if we were going to discuss, just anything in general or anything particular you wanted to cover, or
anything you want to talk about, Jason, El Maestro, Alicia. I kind of like that, and I see. I've been combing your history a little bit. Give the people a little bio about you to start off.
Absolutely. So, full name Jason Alicea, born and raised here in Chicago, Illinois. Parents met in Puerto Rico, and decided to come to Chicago for better opportunity, and kind of just been here majority of my life. I lived 2 years in Puerto Rico, and background has been kind of like retail banking. Started as a part-time teller, worked my way up to management. Did management for about 7 years, and along with that, I did some mortgage lending, and that's kind of where the El Maestro came from. Because as a mortgage banker, one of the ways to kind of generate clientele, I decided to lead in with educating, providing home buying seminars within the communities I serve, and partnering up with other professionals that happen to play a role in the home buying process. And so that's kind of how that nickname came about, because there's several lenders out there that do home buying seminars, but it's an area that I'm very passionate about, and people are like, hey, you're like a teacher. You really, really enjoy doing this. And actually, I didn't actually share this just now, but at one point I was looking to get into education. I wanted to be a secondary ed Spanish teacher, but I kind of fell into banking because of my cousin and grew a passion for it, so decided to just incorporate both. So that's pretty much everything as far as how the nickname came about. You probably came across my platform on Instagram. I think that's how we connected with the whole Don't Limit Your Identity and some of the videos that I've been kind of launching on there. And I am a man of faith, so this is one that I have to say has never been something in my plan. It's more God's plan.
I like that.
And I say that because, he really used my daughter. So the videos came about in December 2018. Can't remember the exact date to be quite honest, but my daughter was watching a Christmas movie, which I thought was, something more of joy. And I noticed that she was about to break down crying.
Oh.
And I said, her name is Jelani. I go, Jelani, why do you look like you're about to break down crying? And she says, well, Dad, I'm watching this movie, and this young girl lost her father, and she's watching videos of her dad. And I'm thinking, if you die, I have no videos of you. Ooh. I'm like, wow, this is deep, and she made my eyes water naturally. And I'm like, well, Jelani, let's go ahead and put this in prayer. Let's ask God to live a long life, and I see my grandbabies. But in the meantime, I'll think of something to come up with some videos for you. Yeah. And I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, well, I just don't want to just do any video. I want to do something that maybe, if I happen to die early on, where, she watches them, then something maybe that can lead in with some kind of education. So I came about the word of the day. And the word of the day was really my goal to provide her with specific words and my translations of it, and hopefully she could see her dad's point of view of it. So I decided to launch that in January with no intent of putting it on any social media platform at all whatsoever. Right. I started utilizing Snapchat, and I liked it because I had all these different filters, and some of them had like the date, the time, Chicago, and so forth. And I just figured, well, I can use this to kind of do a quick recording and save it, back it up into my Google, and give my wife access to that account should something happen. Well, I usually do them in the morning. After recording it, I figured, well, what the heck, I already recorded, why not share it on my story? So I did, and one day I forgot to do it that day, so later that afternoon I'm like, you know what, I forgot to do my daughter's video, let me go on Snapchat and create this recording so I could save it for today. I get on, there's 3 private messages, and each of them were asking, where's the word of the day? And so I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Are you mocking me? Because I did have a few others that did kind of mock me before about it, and they said, no, Jay, we like it. We look forward to it. So that's how I decided to kind of launch on different social media platforms. And so that's kind of what happened with the whole word of the day and how I created the brand Don't Limit Your Identity. That was something that came to mind a year ago. I'm the oldest of 4. Okay. So I would always talk to my dad, and I would say, hey, Pops, I think you really spoil the younger ones too much to the point that you handicap them.
Oh.
And he'll tell me, Jay, why do you use that word? I hate that. I'm like, well, Dad, what I'm talking about is that, I just want to use kind of an analogy. They could walk without their crutches, but you keep insisting that they take the crutches. They don't need it. And I'm not trying to talk down about anyone that has to face any kind of disability, but I'm not looking at it from that point of view. What I am looking at is that sometimes we handicap ourselves, and it's because of sometimes of the upbringing. You're spoiling them way too much, and you're not allowing them to just kind of jump out the nest and fly. You're trying to hold them back. So when I'm at church and I'm in prayer, and what came to mind was eliminate the whole word handicap and replace it with don't limit your identity. So I'm like, wow, what is this about? I asked my pastor, can we meet for lunch that week? And we did. And he's like, I shared with him what happened. I said, does that mean, I've heard people say God spoke to me. Is that kind of what that is? And he said, that's exactly what it is. I said, okay, well, what did you want me to do with it? He said, I don't know. You got to put that in prayer fast, and he'll give you guidance. So I bought a journal, and in that journal, I put the title, Don't Limit Your Identity. And I thought, well, maybe one day I'll create a book. And I would write, notes, and I would listen to different speakers and so on. And a lot of people have the content related to identity. It's not the first time you hear anything around it. But no one had the whole slogan, Don't Limit Your Identity. So that's going to be mine. And when I decided to use the whole word of the day and launch a YouTube channel, I decided to use the word Don't Limit Your Identity. And I had my daughter's godmother, fortunate enough that she knows a lot about graphic design, so she created my logo for me.
Sweet.
And it's been wild. It's been like God really in the center of it all. Something I thought that would just be simply for my daughter, and I remind myself daily why I do it, has been impacting lives tremendously. And it's amazing. And the last few weeks, the last 8 weeks, I've had multiple people reach out, several men just kind of breaking down and crying and sharing that what they're facing in their life, and how this word of the day has been really helping them continue to fight each day whatever they're battling. And that's why I kind of like, God, I don't know what you have in plan for me. And I have people telling me, do you want to become a motivational speaker? Do you want to be a life coach? So right now I'm just kind of using the platform with the videos, but let's see where it takes off.
Wow, Jason Alicea, you've given a lot to unpack. What inspired you at first from your daughter has now turned into you inspiring others. You never know who your words are going to inspire. And here you missed one day of giving that word for the day, and you have at least 3 people saying, hey, where's that word of the day? I missed it.
Yeah.
So you've gone through a lot of things, and yes, I've gone to your website, don'tlimityouridenty.com, and right there on the front is the fine logo that was designed. It kind of looks like a shield. Explain the I know it was designed by a friend of yours, or was it your mother or grandmother? What was it?
It was my daughter's godmother.
Yeah, your daughter's godmother, and she designed it. Could you explain a little bit of what the logo means to you?
To me, so the armor, you're exactly on point. When you look at it, you do see kind of an armor there. Seeing that I'm a man of faith, I want to remind everyone that you have the armor of God along with armoring you. Not allowing anyone to destroy you and to destroy your identity. And the color scheme, you'll notice that there's a gold for the lettering, which is, the DLYI, and then the red. So the red, it looks like a sword, but it also symbolizes kind of like the cross to remind everyone of faith. And so her name is Yolanda. So Yolanda, when she put it together, what I gave her was kind of a sketch that I drew, nothing like this. I kind of share with her what I was looking to kind of deliver with it. And I decided to look up different, colors. I like the color red, and then I looked up gold. I said, okay, what are some meanings? Like, what do people translate the color red and gold? And you'll find multiple options for each. So for the red, I found determination was one that I picked away from it, and gold I picked success. So I tell individuals, okay, don't limit your identity. That's the full brand right there. That's what it stands for. That's the actual meaning of each of the letters. But along with it, I want to remind you that through faith and determination, you will reach success pursuing your true identity that our Lord and Savior has placed upon you.
Jason Alicea, you are El Maestro. You're teaching me, and you're teaching my listeners as well. All right,
Thank you.
Yes, I'm from Miami. I'm half Cuban on my mother's side, and so you're from Puerto Rico, and I know that Cuba and Puerto Rico have had an interesting past. My grandfather, who's straight from Cuba, would talk a lot about the dynamics there. So I don't want to really go into the conflict unless you want to, but
no.
So tell me about growing up in Puerto Rico. You left at a young age. How old were you?
No, actually, my parents married in Puerto Rico, and I was actually born in Chicago.
Ah, okay. Now, there you go. See, I'm third generation myself, so the blood is thinning, I think. Yes. I speak Spanish, but it's very, very broken. I can get away at a Mexican restaurant, and order some food if I want to, but certainly it is breaking down. So, born in Chicago, then. How was growing up in Chi-Town, man? How was that?
Rough. During the time my parents had me, I was fortunate enough to go to a private school from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade.
What kind of, was it a religious private school, or was it
yes, Catholic.
Catholic
school. Born and raised Catholic.
Yeah, I did that until 6th grade, so I'm familiar with that. But what was your experience going to Catholic school?
To me, it's really all I knew as far as at that time. I did transition to public school for high school, so you see the difference. When comparing the two, you had more of that undivided attention in the Catholic school or private school, smaller class size. For that reason, it kind of felt like family-oriented for me. But a lot of the nuns were pretty strict in class, too, so you had to make sure that you were in the best behavior possible. But overall, it was a good experience. When I went to high school, that's kind of when I did happen to live in Puerto Rico part of 8th grade and freshman year. My dad wanted me to kind of transition and go out there because at that time, this was 96, 97, the area I was living at in Chicago was really, really rough. I mean, you probably heard stories right now where people name Chicago as Chirac in certain parts of the area. It's still pretty bad, but where I grew up, it's changed drastically. It's better now. But during this time I was growing up, it was gang infested. So my dad came out here from Puerto Rico. He didn't know the English language, and because of that, it put him in a situation where gang members actually jumped him and put a beating on him, thinking that he was kind of looking at one of the guy's girlfriends, and they were asking him questions and he couldn't answer it, so they just beat him up. So that instilled kind of a lot of fear for him, where he felt the times as I was becoming a teenager, he didn't want me to live out here and face that, so he sent me out there with my grandparents. But that was an awakening. Puerto Rico, I found it beautiful. I love, I have a big family out there, but the school was different. So I came back and I told my dad, I said, Dad, I've never fought as much as I have out here in Puerto Rico, the guys out here that I ever did in Chicago. Can you please send me back?
Wow.
So that's kind of why I came back.
So Puerto Rico was rough as well growing up.
At least in the school, it was for me.
Why were they picking on you? Were you El Americano, El Gringo, coming from Chicago, or was it because of where you're from?
That's part of it. Number one, they said, okay, he thinks he's better than us because he's from out there, from the United States. Along with that, in Chicago, it was more of a rougher area. It's always been kind of rough growing up. So if you didn't know anyone, most people are not as friendly as some other places, but so I didn't know anyone at school, and so granted, when I got there, I would go straight to my class and so on. And Puerto Rico was a sign of disrespect if you got to school and you didn't acknowledge the guys that were there and approach them to kind of shake their hand and say good morning and so on. And because I started off that way, not knowing, it put me on the wrong path for them. They thought immediately, he thinks he's better than us. He doesn't even acknowledge who we are. He doesn't shake our hand. So it just brought all that attention on me where sadly I would face a lot of fighting.
You don't need that kind of pressure in school. There's pressure enough in high school trying to get through. So you were in Puerto Rico until what grade?
I was there 8th grade and freshman year, so not also 9th grade, and I came back to Chicago for sophomore, junior, senior year. Okay. So, was high school experience at least a little bit better in Chicago? I was lucky enough because I went to the public school when I first got there. I'm like, wow, this is completely different from what I'm used to in the private school.
Right.
Class was overflow with students, a lot of gangs. But because of the school was near my community, a lot of the guys that grew up with me since I was the age of 5, they went to the same school. So it made it more kind of a warm, welcoming in a sense where they would introduce me to people there. The gangs recognized I wasn't affiliated with any gangs. So I didn't, I didn't face any. I didn't actually have not one fight there. So everything was good. At the beginning, certain gangs would ask, hey, are you part of the Lightning Kings? Are you part of that and whatnot? And I would disclose I'm not, and they would leave me alone and realize that I wasn't part of it at all. But I did witness a lot of gang activity around the school. Shootings, young guys being chased, bats, fights. I mean, you've seen it all. Kind of reminded me. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Dangerous Minds? Kind of reminded me of that movie.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
You get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get to the school, there's a metal detector, something goes off, security guards throwing you against the wall, checking you down, making sure, what do you have on you, checking your backpacks, and it was an awakening for me. It was completely different when I was used to a private school.
That's quite an upbringing, Jason Alicea. All right, don't limit your identity is who we're talking to on the What Makes You Famous program. Wow, high school. Any extracurricular activities? Did you do anything in school that just gave you something to do to help you shape your life, or was pretty much surviving what shaped your life?
I would say at the time I probably never looked at it that way, but surviving and I was raised with great work ethic. My father's a real estate broker.
Great.
I once had someone ask me, Jason, what age did you start working? And I said, actually, probably 5, 5 or 7. My grandfather in Puerto Rico would give me a box full of avocado and say, go to the street and start selling them. So I've been in the field at a young age to work. So in high school, I kept myself busy. I would go to school, after school, go to work, come home, do my homework, and then continue on. I was never very active in sports, I think, because my father, being that he was in real estate,
right.
My upbringing, we would go with him to do showings and pass out flyers. Also, I was able to be exposed to hard work and being with him a lot. He thinks that, he actually one time approached me and said, Jay, I'm sorry. And I said, sorry for what? He's like, I never put you in sports. I never got to go to the ballpark with you. And I said, Dad, you gave me the best life possible. I enjoyed being with you and learning what good work ethic is and being exposed to that. And I have no regrets.
No, it sounds like the men in your life have shaped you in that respect with the work ethics. What did I get for my 5th birthday? A job. I got a job selling avocados on the street in Puerto Rico. Yeah, that's something. Yeah. Oh, I'm only 5. Get on the street. Go. No, that's and that's great. Yeah. I mowed lawns and babysat, and yes, you have to earn your keep, man, and. A lot of kids think that it's easy, and we try to make it easier on them. I think that's our fault. The next generation always wants to make it better for that next generation, but the hard work, that's important too. Have them clean their rooms, wash a dish, make sure that they, straighten up the bathroom, something like that. Wash my car, give you some kind of a work ethic. And I'm glad that you had that from an early age. So what did your mother do while you were growing up?
My mom has been in accounting. So she actually, that's pretty much her background. She used to work for the People's Energy, which is a gas company out here, for years, and she worked over with the city of Chicago, and then now she happens to work with a construction company by the name of Leopardo.
Wow, you got some smart, hardworking people in your background that have given you the foundation, Jason Alicea. So you get out of high school in Chicago, and what do? Go out and party in the city, or where do you head from high school, Jason Alicea?
Well, full transparency, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
At first, I went to a junior community college, and I started hanging out with some guys that we went to high school with. I wasn't taking it serious, so I dropped out.
Yeah. What was your major? What did you think you might want to do when you grew up?
Well, at that current time, I didn't know, honestly. I mean, growing up, I used to say a cartoonist, to be quite honest.
Hey, any aptitude for art?
Used to like drawing. I would look at characters and kind of sketch them out. I stopped at a young age because someone asked me the same question you asked now, and when I shared that I wanted to be a cartoonist, they said, "Oh, good luck. That's a really hard industry to get into. It's not easy." And I think I was like 11 years old when that happened. So after that, I stopped drawing.
Yeah, after all the cartoonists that I talk to, if they want to make any kind of money, it's a lot of little bit of money. You know, $50 here, $50 there, $20 there, $20 here. So it's volume. Yes, you could make a living as a cartoonist, but it's a lot of volume. So yeah, they've told me, and this is over the years at going to different Comic-Cons. I get to DJ at a lot of different Comic-Cons, and I talk to these cartoonists, and they all pretty much say the same thing. Yes, it's a lot of little bit of money, but it all adds up to a living. Hey, you make a living. All right, so cartooning's not your bag, baby. Jason Alicea, where do you go from out of community college and into what?
At that point, I had a cousin that worked at the bank. She actually encouraged me to kind of apply for the part-time teller position. Decided to kind of look into it. Then my mother did have a conversation with me. She said, I really encourage you to go back to school. So I decided to go to Northeastern University to become, and that's when I decided, I'm going to leave with looking at education as a major.
Okay.
At that point, I was there for 2 years. My first 2 years, I was able to finish that while working at the bank, and I met my ex-wife. So we're no longer together, but at that time, I was young and ignorant and not listening to my parents. I decided to get married at the age of 20.
Yeah, that's too young.
Yes.
I think our grandparents were able to do that for some reason, but these days, you got to wait till you're 30.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I agree on that completely.
Get your life straight, get your life together. Make all your mistakes and then get married.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it sounds like the bank, the person that got you to go in the bank, that was a turning point, because in the beginning of our conversation, you said that you had a little banking, and now you're thinking about education. Continue. Right.
Yeah. That's my cousin Victoria Morero. She, I tell her to this day, I thank you, because I had no idea what I was going to do. I was talking about education, but who knows where I would have ended up if I made the decision to get married young. So at that point, as a part-time teller, I remember, being married and realizing, okay, well, the two of us were going to school for education. So I told my ex-wife at the time, I said, you know what? I think I need to get another job. So why don't you focus on school? I'm going to go ahead and put school on hold. Mm-hmm. And I was able to sit down with my manager and say, hey, I want to get into your shoes. What do I got to do? So I was blessed to have someone work with me and help mentor me and help get me to the direction I wanted to do. So she said, if you're serious, you got to put hard work in and you'll get there. So as a part-time son, I was able to work my way up to management.
Excellent.
Started off like an officer, AVP, reached to VP.
What?
And decided I wanted to look at another area within the bank, because the retail side is kind of like your traditional bank when you walk in. Teller transactions, you got your bankers there and so on. But
but you did it the right way, Jason Alicea. You started from the bottom, and then you got to the top. You worked hard. That hard work ethic that was instilled in you by your grandfather and your father at a young age. Yes. That you got to the top. You worked hard. Excellent. Continue. You're at the bank on the top.
Thank you. So at that point, I decided to look at other areas, which is mortgage lending, and I've done that now a little over 2 years. So on a full-time basis, I help clients more. First-time buyers is kind of my niche market, where I help them obtain down payment assistance. And
about what year was this?
This was 2 years ago. I would say was it 2016.
Okay, and so 2000. What year did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school in 2000.
Oh, 2000. Okay. So what were you doing between 2000? Oh, 2008 was the bubble. I was thinking maybe that you were involved in that somehow. But I guess your dad was in real estate at the time, or no?
Yeah, my dad faced it harder than I did. Since I was on the retail banking side, I was fortunate enough to work with a large financial institution. which were able to kind of ride out the storm.
Mm-hmm.
My father, in his case, real estate was really his full time. That's what he did raising us. So
Sure.
2007, 2008, he decided, well, he still didn't want to go work for someone. My father made a pledge that he would always be independent and not work for someone. So he's very entrepreneurial minded, and he decided to launch a farmers insurance agency within his office.
Cool.
So at the time, farmers allowed realtors to have a separate office space within it to market their business and offer insurance to their clients.
Well, that's smart on their part. It more business for them. So that was good that he had that to float by during the reception, during the recession, during the bubble. Fantastic.
Yes.
Good. Very smart thinking, Dad.
Thank you. Yes, sir. He definitely made a point to do that, and he also even incorporated doing taxes with H&R Block during tax season. So he's always been a person to keep himself going.
Hustle.
Yes, absolutely. So
okay. And
then
you're still in the banking. You're still in the banking side on that one.
I am, but on the mortgage division now.
Okay,
so,
but at that time you were in the retail side of it. You said
correct.
Okay,
yeah.
So
we've seen business slow down, but it didn't affect us to the point where I worked for like JP Morgan Chase, who's to this day still around. So
cool. All right, Jason Alicea, we're learning more about you, and continue as we go further. You're already at last year, and you're still in the banking business, right?
I still am. Yes,
oh,
sir.
That's excellent. So that's your main forte. So don't.
That is.
And the other thing, the thing that just came about last year, where your daughter said, what? I need some videos of you. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, okay. So don't limit your identity. I mean, that's a platform I have now. I'm not quite sure which direction I'm going to take it any further.
Right.
As far as I've had people reach out and say, why don't you consider going to motivational speaking?
Yes.
I have friends that actually happen to do that. And so I'm looking at considering that. I mean, I created my platform, website that you took a look at to make sure that I had some kind of presence, and I'll kind of see where that goes. You've probably seen on my page, you'll notice like there's people marketing hats that I created recently, and these hats, I have the logo on there, the Don't Limit Your Identity logo, and along with that, I have a cancer ribbon on the side. Started off with a lavender color, because when I looked up all cancer, it said the ribbon and lavender would symbolize all cancer. And the reason why I put that there is that I partner up with the not-for-profit by the name of the Sepulveda Foundation for Cancer Fighters.
Oh, great.
And it's a foundation that was founded by a cousin of mine who passed away from prostate cancer.
Oh.
Yes. So his wife wanted to continue his legacy because his goal was to launch a not-for-profit to deliver care packages to cancer patients while they're going through chemo and so on. So his wife started this foundation about 2 years ago. I was able to kind of go out there with her and explore, what is it that she does when she's out there visiting the cancer patients, and fell in love with the amount of work she puts behind it and how she's helping people really believe that there's an opportunity for them to fight this battle that they're going through. So I made a point that if I'm going to sell anything, whatever I profit, I donate immediately 10% over to her organization to kind of support her foundation and keep that going.
Well, that comes from your early upbringing where you're tithing, giving back to your community, giving back to your church, giving back to your community is what you're doing.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes,
good goal.
Thank you. I said, but all the things that come about. So before the hats, it's kind of been like people reaching out, telling me, for example, I had a biker reach out to me on Instagram and say, hey, I like your logo. Do you happen to have a patch? And at first I'm like, patch, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm a biker and I have a leather vest and I have patches and I like your logo. I like to have a patch of it.
Yes.
So well, I don't have it, but I'll look into it. So I ordered about 15 and distribute them. And what I did ask, I said to anyone I gave, I said, hey, listen, I'm going to give this to you at no cost. So if you don't mind, just share it on social media so that way I could create a movement and create awareness and so on. So that took place. And I had hats made for myself and I had people reach out and say, "Hey, are you selling hats now? Because I noticed you have a hat on." So that's how the hat kind of came about.
Yeah, and that
now
just that takes the logo, and turns it kind of sideways on your hat.
Yes.
Don't limit your with the sword in the middle identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's
correct.
Great. And you're making a brand, and whether you think you're a motivational speaker or you're not, you're motivating people. You're making people think. And I'm glad that you're involved with the cancer research, that you're helping to save other people. I'm sorry about your family member passing like that. That's tough. It's always tough. But you're inspiring people, Jason Alicea. I'm kind of excited about that, and I'm glad to be talking to you. Tell me more.
Thank you. So now it looks like I'm going to meet with another vendor to discuss shirts, because I've had someone reach out to me and say, "Hey, do you happen to have shirts, and are you considering," which is wild. So I don't know if you notice in the videos when I start off by saying, "Good morning, good morning, good morning." And at the end I say, "God bless." So it's becoming kind of like a signature for me. Wherever I go somewhere, if anyone's seen the videos, immediately they're like, "Hey, Maestro, good morning, good morning, good morning," or "God bless."
You've got your catchphrases too, okay, and that helps. That helps people to remember, and then when they remember that, then they're going to go into your message a little bit more. Hopefully, that's the end goal: is that they listen to the words and they put them into their own lives as well. That's
correct.
You're
inspiring. Go ahead. With that, someone asked, "Can I make a shirt that has 'Good morning, good morning' on the front of it?" So I'm looking to see about doing that. So let's see what happens.
You'll put that on the front, or maybe and then your logo in the back, or vice versa.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. So, but even this morning, I had a meeting at 8 a.m. with a former Chicago Bears player, tight end Desmond Clark.
Cool.
He and I met today, kind of just to talk. His mom sadly died of breast cancer, so
wow.
I happen to have some pink hats and for breast cancer awareness with the pink ribbon on it. So I reached out to him to say, "Hey, have this hat. I'd like to kind of bless you with one." And I know that every Tuesday he makes it towards breast cancer awareness. He calls it Pink Tuesday. So everyone wears pink. And I noticed you don't have a pink hat. You have a black hat. So I have a hat that I can give to you. And he actually reached out to me about a year ago or so to talk about doing seminars together, because he happens to own an insurance company.
Oh, okay.
So we met this morning. We kind of talked about the whole "Don't Limit Your Identity" branding. We talked about looking at setting some future home buying seminars together. But along with that, he's also going to start making videos of his own.
Yes.
So he says he might consider taking the whole word of the day as well, but making sure I got credit for it. So
yeah, you're inspiring people, you're connecting with people, you're making business relationships, and this is where it's at. You're building people up, they're building you up at the same time. We're building each other up, and that's the way this world should be. In my humble opinion, is helping people to get to know other people. I had no idea who you were, Jason Alicea, but I wanted to get you on the program and find out more about you. And here I am, man, finding out more about you. I see your logo. You're a man of faith. Do you still are you still a faithful man? Do you attend church regularly, or is that something you still do?
I do. I actually attend a church by the name of New Life Covenant.
Okay, so not in the Catholic faith anymore.
No. Actually, back in 2010, 2010 was when I faced a divorce with my ex-wife. So we were married for 8 years. We didn't have any kids, and my current wife, actually, we met in banking.
Hey!
And yeah, so she happened to call me one day to verify a check. She used to be with U.S. Bank, and at one point I used to be at U.S. Bank prior to going to J.P. Morgan Chase.
Okay.
The office I was managing, they actually closed it down because they had acquired another bank, so there happened to be an overlap.
Right.
So I mentioned to her probably a year ago, a year before going over to Chase, or when I went to Chase, I mentioned to her, "I'll be at Chase, and if you ever need to verify a check, feel free to call me," with no intent of, it going anywhere.
Sure, there wasn't. Wink, wink.
No, positive on that. I was at that time I was still married. Everything was fine.
Oh, okay.
But a year later, when she called to verify the check, and I expressed, I'm just got divorced. She asked, what's going on in your life? I said, I just got divorced. She said, oh, wow, that's wild. So I'm in the process of getting divorced. I said, okay, well, I know you have 2 kids, and how are they handling it? And she said, well, naturally not easy, but
right.
We've been going to church and it's been helping her. I said, oh, well, what church? And she mentioned New Life Covenant. So I happened to say, well, I was born and raised Catholic. I haven't been going to church, but I've heard a lot of great things about that church.
Mm-hmm.
They were inside. At one point, they didn't have an actual building presence, so they would rent the auditorium at Roberto Clemente High School.
Okay.
And so I see, I've heard a lot of good things. She's like, you should come out and check it out one day. So I started going, and I would see her and the kids after service, kind of high and by. And one Sunday, I said, hey, there's a place on the street that I heard they make coconut oatmeal. It's a little Spanish spot that they call Avena de Coco. So I said, I've been wanting to try it. She's like, oh, yeah, I've heard about it. So we go, we try it, and we're big, from there kind of grew our friendship where we started seeing each other more and hanging out after church. And before you knew it, it was a relationship. So, but yeah.
How sweet is that? And she helped you to rekindle your faith as well by having you come back into the fold, I suppose. Now, I've heard about New Life. It's a lot of music and a lot of good fellowship. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. The main pastor is Pastor Wilfredo de Jesus, and
okay.
Now, at that time they were at Federal Clemente. Now they have an actual building, and they have several smaller campuses throughout the city of Chicago. I think they also have one in Florida near
Cool.
Orlando.
Is this all in Spanish or in English?
Both.
Oh.
Primarily it's English, but it's both. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I speak English and Spanglish. So if we
many of us do.
Necesito practicar mi español. So, all right. So you had a good meeting with the nice lady, and you got married. Was it a whirlwind romance, or was it quick, or was it took you a while?
By 2013, we got married. So 3 years after that.
Yay! Mazel tov. To quote my Jewish friends. So good. Everything's going good. You got all the kids in the house, and you got that one that really inspired you to make some videos, and now you're inspiring others with Don't Limit Your Identity. Jason Alicea. That's fantastic. So going strong since last year, and I guess really only since the beginning of this year was when you started the videos, right?
Yeah, I started the videos in January. I think it was around March when someone actually mentioned, where the word of the day, and then by April I launched the whole YouTube with the branding of Don't Limit Your Identity. So it's been since April, really, that Don't Limit Your Identity has existed.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm looking at your Instagram, and I see the tent poles there. There's some highlights, and the second highlight says podcast. Are you podcasting?
I haven't been consistent with it, so I do have one, a Don't Limit Your Identity podcast. I think it's been over a week that I delivered anything. The last thing I had on there was probably August 10th, so I haven't been very consistent with it as much as I like.
That's the thing about podcasting is once you start, be consistent. If you're going to do it once a week or twice a week or, once a month even, you do tell people, hey, I'm going to do this once a month. I'm going to do this. And you commit yourself to doing it. And it will take off. It will take off. This podcast, really, I've only started it in March, and it has taken off. Let me give you a little, you and the listeners, 5 cents worth of free advice. Go to anchor.fm and host your podcast for free there.
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Okay. Go to anchor.fm and host.
Oh, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, for free. Isn't that great?
Yes.
It's the greatest thing. And they put you out on Spotify and iHeartRadio and all those, and Apple, and just amazing. I paid for hosting in the beginning, and I went, wait a minute, that thing's over there for free, and they do a whole lot more for you. So yeah, that's 5 cents worth of free advice. And the podcasting could be another niche for you, and it could step you out. I mean, we know where you're from, Puerto Rico, and I'm sorry, Chicago, and then going to Puerto Rico a little bit, and then coming back to Chicago. We know where you are. You're in the banking business, and you've just started this Don't Limit Your Identity. Where do you see this going for you, Jason Alicea?
I'm looking at, looking into two things. I would say possibly looking at the direction of going to like motivational speaking. Mm-hmm. I want to target youth, young adults, and men. I think that those are three areas that I really feel like, especially even with the youth, like one of the questions you asked is what did I want to major in? I was 18. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. But really want to help out the communities where they kind of face what I faced when I was upbringing, with gang related, and a lot of times they don't realize that they look at their identity as their surrounding,
right,
the community they're in. That there's nothing more outside of that. That everything's just kind of fairy tale. And I want to empower them to know that there's more outside your community and you can pursue it. Men battle this all the time. I mean, even recently, I've connected with at least 3 or 4 men that are telling me they don't know where they're at in their life. They don't know what they want to do when they're in their mid-30s. And I said, it's common. We go through different stages in our life that, sometimes you may get stuck at the previous stage, and it's time to kind of grow out of that. And there's a new identity that comes about from that. So really looking at motivational speaking as an area to do. I kind of want to put down a timeline like with the next, I would say possibly this time next year I should be doing speaking events.
Yes.
I'm actually attending a church in September that wants me to come out and kind of see one of their speakers, and then possibly between October and November do a speaking engagement there for the young adults.
Yeah, that's where you start. You can grab a Bible verse and make a talk out of it. And really go from there, because I know I was doing that when I was in heavy into the church. I would go up and do a speech about a certain Bible verse that affected me, and I could see you doing that as well.
Yes.
And then middle schools and high schools and colleges and beyond. The thing that's humming in my head right now, and you even mentioned it, Dangerous Minds, been spending most of my life living in a gangster's paradise. Yeah.
Right. Julio.
Oh, I'm seeing it. And you coming out to that. Jason Alicea just coming out to that and doing your thing. I see your mission statement. You want to empower 1 million individuals by 2024 through faith and determination. That's lofty. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to be on your podcast and allow me to share my story.
Oh, I appreciate you talking to me. My goodness. Anything else you want to tell the people?
To just remain in faith. Whatever they may be facing at this current time, that we all go through darkness, and it may seem like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but trust in Him, our Lord and Savior, and know that you're never alone, that He's on your side. And even if you may feel alone, know that He's there. So
that is beautiful.
I'm just going to leave it with that.
Jason Alicea, Don't Limit Your Identity. How do people connect with you, or how do you want them to connect with you socially or whatever?
It's either my Instagram page, Don't Limit Your Identity, is pretty much on my Instagram page, and then if it's Facebook, it's actually Jay and Maestro Alicea. So Jay space EL space M as in Mary AES T as in Tom RO Alicea AL as in Larry I C as in Cat EA. Feel free to give me a call. 773-677-6647. Or my website, they can take a look at it. I do want to make some additional changes to it, but don'tlimmityouridentity.com.
I see it. And you got your phone number right at the top. In the newspaper, it used to be above the fold. You want people to call you. You want people to connect with you on a personal level, personal basis, and that's very telling of your personality. You're inviting people to be, to get it straight from you. To have, you want to help them and you want them to have every opportunity to get a hold of you. I mean, some people are very sheltered and wouldn't want to do that, but you're opening yourself up to the world, and I appreciate that, Jason Alicea. You're not limiting your identity at all.
Appreciate that. Means a lot. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to put all these links to your various social medias and your website in the show notes, and I'll send you the link in about an hour or so. But it's been very, very nice talking to you, Jason Alicea, from humble beginnings to where you are now and beyond. I see great things.
Thank you.
Any last words for the people?
No, again, thank you for making time for me and to allow me to be on your podcast and share the story with you and everyone.
Thank you, Jason Alicea. Yes.
So, full name is it Keys Dan or?
Oh, well, it's Daniel Gilson, really, but Keys Dan. I'm from the Florida Keys, so that's where it came from.
Gotcha. Okay.
A lot of people ask, "Are you a key maker? Or is it musical keys?" No, I'm from the Florida Keys, and that moniker has followed me all the way to Arkansas, which is where I am now.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll make sure to also that I'm following your podcast, and I appreciate your time again.
Well, I'm excited about your podcast taking off. I need something to do while I'm driving around. I drive, sometimes 8 to 10 hours a day, just driving around listening to podcasts. So if I could put your podcast in the feed, I definitely will.
All right. Well, thank you. Again,
all right,
Dan,
Jason.
you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jason Alicea. Don't limit your identity. Well, there you have it, party people. Jason Alicea, El Maestro. Oh, I like that. El Maestro. In case you didn't get it before, El Maestro means the teacher. So he's looking to inspire people, and he is inspiring people. Yeah, he tried to skip out on one of those words of the day, and people called him on it and said, no, I need my word of the day. You need to get back over here with your good videos. And yes, his daughter inspired him to make the videos. And then he said, well, let me throw one up since I'm making these videos, see if somebody else gets inspired. And guess what? Other people got inspired. Jason Alicea. Yeah, El Maestro. And he's coming up with this Don't Limit Your Identity, that brand at don'tlimityouridenty.com. So be sure to visit that website. And if you're in need of some assistance, if you need some inspiration, he puts his phone number right there on the top. That's his phone number. You can get right to Jason Alicea and find out a little bit more. Hey, book him at your event. He'll put together a speech or a talk that is geared towards you. I see nothing but good things. I mean, he gets on his videos on Instagram and his Twitter videos, and he comes up with his word of the day and a whole lot more. Something to inspire you. We didn't even go over today's word of the day. It's silent. So here I am on the podcast, just jibber jabbering away, just chit chatting with Jason Alicea, and his word of the day was silent. So get to know Jason Alicea. You'll be a much better person. And thank you so much for coming on the program, What Makes You Famous. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you, give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous, the podcast. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. India is the world's largest democracy with more than 700 million registered voters. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, radiowhat.com.
Be on Radio What. Call 501-470-6386. Say your name, where you're from, and you're listening to What? The music you want is on radiowhat.com.